hipster than drinking a Sam Adams final.
I told you it you see, yeah, you can see it. It was in a 4-pack, or it was in a variety pack.
Oh, you're right. Yes, this is the one that
It's
was hidden in the darkest corner of a
it's
brewery.
it's the Jacko, it wasn't, no, it was right in the front. It's the Jacko, which is the pumpkin beer. Then they have Oktoberfest, I think, is in there, and then Flannel Fest, which is basically a darker Oktoberfest, and then there's like a hop lager, which is like a bit of an IPA lagerish type of mix.
So basically,
Not
like,
a fan, but
let's take two of our most popular beers, put them in the front of a 4-pack, and throw whatever we have left over that no one buys behind it.
pretty much, yeah. So,
But hey,
um,
I appreciate the Munich Lager Flannel Fest.
yeah, I
I'll be
got
in
to.
Munich in 2 weeks.
Sammy Adams. Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Look at you, flannel in the lager. Well, I'm not as fancy as you. I just went with good old American PBR, brother.
American PBR in London. Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that, baby. This is what the Brits call exotic Budweiser.
All right. This episode's already started. So, everyone, welcome in. Welcome in. Week 1 of the NFL season is a wrap. A lot of shit went down. A lot of overreactions from week 1. A lot of bad injuries. We will get into all of that. But of course, got to start off with the Birds. Snuck out a W in New England. Looked a little shaky. I think I will say I give the Patriots credit
thoughts.
though. Their defense looked legit. As their defense is always pretty good. Sometimes they have some down years, but yeah, they adjusted. They got after us. But hey, I mean, Eagles barely gave up 20 points. I know there was a lot of like Mac threw for 300 yards, but like they had good field position a lot of the time because Siposs still sucks ass.
He does.
I don't know. I was a little skeptical on Dean. I mean, everyone was on the Kobe Dean. I was like, he's got to prove a lot. But I feel like once he went out after that first quarter, like you noticed the middle of the field and the flat was a lot more open. They were making really that's all the reason we only got what two sacks or a sack and a half, or well, not a sack and a half, but like 2 sacks I think on Mac Jones was because he was getting the ball out in like a second.
Yeah.
Like I saw that first half, Hassan Reddick was beating the guy every single time and just was like a second too late every time. And I was like, eventually he's got to get there, right? Nope, never got there. It was just like the Super Bowl. Never got there.
I mean, I hate the Patriots, and I'm not going to like prop them up, but God, night and day from Mac Jones with Matt Patricia, who should have never been an offensive play caller or offensive coordinator, to Bill O'Brien. Mac Jones looked so much better. Like, remember, this guy got benched last year. Like, and people were calling on, what the hell is his name? Bailey Zipped or Zap or Zipper Zapper? What? Yeah.
Zipper Zapper.
I mean, yeah, Bill O'Brien made a big difference on the Patriots, but we obviously don't give a shit about the Patriots, so I'll move on to the Birds. But, I mean, it's week 1.
On Tom Brady retirement night.
Yeah, who cares? Week 1. I'll be honest with you. I was angrier at the Eagles before, like, I saw the Bills versus Jets. And I'll be the first one to say I've been very critical of Rodgers. I'm not a Rodgers guy, but I do feel bad for him. It's hard to believe that he would come back. I mean, he's looking at like 2 years of rehab. I feel bad for the Jets. If you know a Jets fan, check in on them because they are not well right now. Just check in.
Did.
Shoot them a message.
I did. Yeah. I took on my one friend. She's not doing too hot.
Yeah, this is tough. I mean, if you ever like
pour one out for
it's
you,
like
Sam.
It's like if you run down on Christmas morning to look at your presents, to open it up and just realize that it's like the severed head of your parents in a box. Like it is night and day. It's like it was joy.
Graphic.
I mean, it's not too far off though. But regardless, I think the Eagles they looked rusty on offense.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, Hurts missed a couple couple opportunities. Goddard not getting a single catch is disappointing. I don't understand the running back rotation. If you think Gainwell's a third 3-down back, why did you bring in Swift and Penny?
Yeah, I don't know.
Offensive line did not look good. They did not look like this unstoppable force that we've seen before. I thought AJ Brown and Devontae Smith both looked good though. They made plays. But at the end of the day, I mean, your offense couldn't really score. Remember last year when we couldn't stop the Detroit Lions? and we were all worried about this defense. But then what do the football gods give you? They give you the Minnesota Vikings on prime time in week 2, and you smash them, and then we forget everything. We forget the fact that we couldn't stop the Lions, or we forget the fact that we couldn't score points against the Patriots. I'm not too worried. Listen, good teams find a way to win. Look at the Bengals, the Bills, the Chiefs. Those are 3 very good teams, and they
Mm-hmm.
all lost.
Oh yeah, I mean September, like September's always if you come out of September 2-2, you could easily still make the Super Bowl. Like
You'll be
it's
fine.
not, yeah.
You'll be fine.
So I mean, now I will say they need to take care of business against the Vikings. That is a game they can't lose because they got too many other tough games this year. And to
Where's your
start off,
confidence? Where's your confidence on the Vikings though? Because my confidence hasn't moved. I would not be surprised if this is a similar as last year kind of thing. We struggle week 1, show some issues, and then smash the Vikings on national TV.
as much as I wish I were true, I don't think they're going to smash them. I think it's going to be another low
You realize the
scoring.
Vikings lost to Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers and looked terrible.
I know, but I think like confidence, I'm like a 7 out of 10 that they're going to win. But
Oh,
I think, I don't know. I did not like now. This game's going to tell us a lot because it's going to be home. I don't believe what rain is in the forecast for Thursday. Hopefully not. But I think the play calling on offense was so ass and so
yeah.
boring because of the weather. That's and because they were playing like a Bill Belichick Patriot team. That's what I want to hope because I've never seen a more uninspired play called game in recent memory. Maybe since Sirianni first took over the Eagles. Like they were just doing like very simple runs, and then Hurts was doing like 5 yard passes, and they didn't go deep until the second half of the game, and like what 1 or 2 explosive plays all game. Like
I mean,
that's
sure,
not.
but they didn't make mistakes. I mean, look at this game.
I mean,
What
Hurts
did
had a really
what
bad fumble
I mean,
again.
sure, but yeah, I don't get me wrong. Yeah, but like what won this game for the Eagles? The pick 6 from Slay and then the fumble that
The
they turned into a
defense, the
touchdown.
defense held out. That's what won the game because the offense wasn't doing much. I
And
mean,
you're right, yeah.
Jake Elliott won the game. I'll give
Jake
him.
Elliott is
He
great.
was a
We love his
beast.
leg.
Like 18
I would
fantasy points. Crazy.
I'd be the other way. I think going to Gillette with week 1 where Bill Belichick has had a whole entire offseason to
I
think
get
about
that.
you
I get
on
that.
Tom Brady's, whatever half birthday or whatever, was a tougher
Oh,
win
okay.
than hosting the Minnesota Vikings, who just lost to the Buccaneers at
Uh-huh.
home for the home opener.
Well,
I
yeah, but
think
you
we
got to
will be
think conversely. The
perfectly fine.
Vikings, the Vikings are like, oh, we just got embarrassed at home. We need to go out
Who gives
and
a shit?
have a good.
They're an inferior team.
I'm not saying they're
I
not.
I
I'm just saying.
I think, and don't get me wrong. When I was watching the game, I was screaming at my TV. I was pretty pissed off, but at the end of the day, you saw enough good things. Like, yeah, the offense struggled. They look boring. They look bland. I don't really understand the running game. The way they ran Jalen Hurts made no sense. Like
Oh
they were
no,
running Jalen Hurts on plays that you signed Rashad Penny to handle. Like
yeah,
there was nothing exciting about it. The whole
yeah.
point
Him
of
being a
Jalen Hurts as a
scratch,
runner,
him being not on the active roster to start that. I did not understand why Penny was not on the
I don't
roster.
get. There was like 10 carries that Hurts had that Penny should have taken.
Yeah, I just don't. And even Swift was barely like I like Gainwell, but like I mean, I was
But
excited to see Swift. You know, he's
when you brought in
quicker.
these running backs, you thought Penny was going to be your first and second guy with Swift and Gainwell coming in the backfield, and you were so bland and boring. You just handed off to Gainwell up the middle, or ran Hurts on a quarterback draw. There was nothing creative about it.
I mean, the first
I
drive, it looked like that's what they were going to do all game, just bully the Patriots front seven, and then they cleaned it up, and then we got lucky. We got an early lead, and Darius Slay had a nice
well,
pick six, and
I mean, you
but
can't say lucky. Turnovers aren't lucky. I mean, Bill Belichick is still an incredible coach. You knew he wasn't going to get just steamrolled all game. He was going to adjust, and he made
oh,
an
I know.
adjustment.
I
And
I mean the Patriots don't get blown out too often, so I figured it was going to be close, and it was. I knew it was going to be sloppy. We have two first time coordinators. I mean, so I we'll see. The defense I was less worried about. Like I would give the defense like a C, but I'm giving the
a
offense like a D
C.
minus.
Bro, we won the game. You're being a C. They had a fumble and a pick six.
C. I'll give him a C plus.
You're insane.
There was
C plus.
way 300 yards from Mac. I know they were on the field a lot, but Mac Jones, he
300
I don't
yards. They
know.
gave up
I
20
don't know.
points. C. They had a pick six, a fumble for a touchdown, and they gave up 20 points, and you're giving them a C? I mean, listen, I'm a heavy critic too, but come
I
on,
don't know,
relax.
man. Like
Relax. They
we
do
didn't
not
get a
win that
single
game
sack
without the
until like the
defense.
fourth quarter.
Who cares? They
That's
still won the
that's
game.
the whole backbone of our D is supposed to be rushing the passer, and we had a single sack.
I think you're being a C and a D on a game they won. You're being way too over dramatic. Did you see the Bills lose to the Jets without
Well,
Aaron
the
Rodgers? Did
Bills
you
get
see the
a F and an
Bengals
F.
get steamrolled by the
I'm
Browns?
not comparing them to other teams. I'm comparing them to what their standard is supposed to be. They are supposed to be, and I know it's September. That's why I'm being critical, but I'm gauging this as if this is where they're supposed to be at. And right now, that is not where they're supposed to be at. I'll give the defense a B minus.
I
I'll
don't
give
know
them
about
that
that.
much. But the
I
offense
think
was
that's where you start.
the offense
20
was a D.
points.
The offense was a D. I'm not going any higher than
20
that.
leave the offense alone. I mean, yeah, they didn't look sexy or exciting. Leave the offense alone. The defense I thought looked good. You went into Gillette. You went against this Patriots team for all you want to say. I mean, they didn't look bad. They didn't look like a bad team. Bill Belichick had that defense well coached. Mac Jones is going to be so much better with Bill O'Brien. If you factor in that Booty dude is literally Booty. If he could just learn how to toe tap, they would have won the game. Juju Smith-Schuster had a brutal drop. Like there was a lot of bad plays by their skill position. I don't think the offense looked that terrible. I
Which
think
just
the
says
Eagles.
I literally said they got lucky on a lot of stuff, and you just
Oh, there is no
reinforce
luck.
that.
You win or lose.
Okay.
I think you're being way too critical. I'll give you my 3 pluses and 3 minuses. Since you're a negative Nancy, we'll go with the 3 minuses first. First minus is this offensive line that has forever been a dominant force, and the best thing about this team did not look very good. And against the Bill Belichick defense, I can understand, but listen, this is supposed to be your bread and butter. They're supposed to be the best part of your team. Them not looking good is concerning. Second concern.
I'm not worried about the line.
I mean, second concern is Dallas Goedert did absolutely nothing. I know Jalen Hurts missed him a couple times, but Dallas Goedert, he's too good of a player to not do anything. Brown and Devontae Smith made plays. They were targeted and they made plays. Dallas Goedert didn't have a reception. Like he's too good.
And I hate on when we watch games on the TV and the analysts are like, let me circle the players that were wide open on this play. No shit. There's a wide open player every play. A quarterback can't. He's supposed to see every single player open in a 3-second, window when he's got to snap it in when he gets the ball after getting snapped and then has to throw it because he got pass rushers in his face. They're not going to hit every guy. They're not going to see every guy.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, I'm not holding that on and don't get me wrong. They did circle Goddard.
Now, granted, he did miss Goddard quite a few times, but to say he missed him, every time he was open is, a little ridiculous, but
still, you're an impact player. Dallas Goedert was what? When we did top tight ends, he was top 5. Like he
number 5
he cannot
4, yeah.
He cannot be, not getting a single reception.
I agree. Hurts looked a little giddy. I don't know if he was just because not playing in the preseason or maybe Patriots really getting after him, but
this goes back to my third negative. The play calling. I know we got this with Brian Johnson. New coordinator, I get it, working out. Dude, it is so boring. Like every Hurts run was so boring. It was a quarterback draw up the middle that wasn't exciting at all. And I mean, I think that comes back to what you're saying is like Hurts missed on some throws. He looked slow. Like there's nothing exciting about it. Like those runs need to open up the passing game. That was why you feared him last year, is that Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert were just unstoppable in the passing game. They constantly got open, and then you had this quarterback that could take off at any moment. But instead of running these options or running anything creative, it was a quarterback draw every single time. He wasn't even looking at the field. It was just, let me take off. Let me do the, halfback dive that you signed Rashawn Penny for. And it just eliminated so many of the good, exciting plays you had last year.
How many times did we see Hurts just like, maybe it was a RPO or design QB run, and he ran for like 3 yards, and he was like, "Well,
See,
fuck it,
it
I got to
was because
slide."
everyone knew.
Yeah,
Everyone knew
it
it
was
was
dumb.
happening.
It was so
It
dumb.
was so
And
boring. I
again,
mean,
I want to say it was because of the rain, because in the second half they did a lot more like open, like no backs, full wide receivers, and was throwing it a lot more. So maybe the rain was like 10 times worse than we thought it was, but I don't know. I just think it was a weird game. I mean, it's week one. It's every team, like there's a bunch of random shit that happened this week on Sunday and
it
Monday,
is.
but
Yeah, I mean, it is week one. Again, good teams find a way to win.
yeah, I want to be critical, but it's to point out that
Oh,
these are the issues,
deservingly.
and I think they're
But
gonna fix most of them. But I'm not I'm not concerned yet. I'm not worried yet. It's
obviously.
just something to keep in mind.
All right,
So
so negative Nancy. I'm going to move on to my three positives I saw this week because I mean, I'm surprised I'm more optimistic than you are. Usually you're a little more pep in your step kind of person, but
I
again,
mean,
it's week one.
I at one point I was losing confidence that we were gonna win that game, and I started closing my
Oh,
eyes on
obviously.
I started closing my eyes on every Jake Elliott field goal, and luckily he made all of them. Although I did open my eyes prematurely on the one where he hit the goalpost, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're keeping him closed the full way through now."
It happens. But my three positives.
Okay.
My first one, Reed Blankenship, who is going to have to step up and play a major role. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that they brought back Slay and Bradbury.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it showed. Slay is still got plenty of big plays in him, but Blankenship I thought played really well.
He
And
did.
he's playing in a very solid defense, but he's taking on. He's not Gardner Johnson. He's playing a different role. He's not going to get you 6 interceptions, but he's all over the field and making plays. I was impressed with how well he looked.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see any
But
missed tackles really from him. He made a couple good stops. It looked like he was in coverage on one of the touchdowns. I don't know if that was his fault or if he was just there when it happened, but
he'll be all
I'm
right.
I'm very meh on Blankenship. I want to see what he can do. I understand he's still young. Um, I didn't like what I saw from him last year, but I've
All
heard
right, so tell me this.
a
Tell me
lot
this.
better looking so
Week
far.
one. Tell me this. This league did he look better this week than he did last year?
Oh yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah,
That's why he's
which
my
is
one of my
good.
positives.
Yeah,
He's going in the right direction. I'm excited for him. But moving on to my second positive, and this one is just a boring one. Like Devontae Smith and AJ Brown showed up again. They're two number one wide receivers. In a boring offensive game, they both made multiple plays. I mean,
and
Devontae Smith's touchdown was very
and
nice.
oh yeah, and Hurts threw a great ball in that too. And you
Oh
know
yeah,
what?
the passing game will be fine because you have
Yeah,
those two and Hurts throwing the ball to him and Goddard whenever the hell he wants to make a catch.
I will say, I don't know. There was something about AJ Brown on Sunday that he just seemed like super focused, super like locked in. Like he wasn't really like taunting or dancing a lot. He was just like really focused, wanted to just play the game and get the win or whatever. But
It's week one. The
I
slate is
know,
wiped clean, man.
I
You
know.
can talk your shit and do your dances and everything when you're 10-2. When you're 0-0, I don't know about that.
I think it's
But
kind of
my
cool though
number
that they sorry to keep interrupting you. I'm taking a trick out of your hat. But
go ahead.
I think it's kind of cool that both of our starting receivers are captains. That's pretty unique. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So
I mean, both our starting receivers are going to be top 10 wide receivers by the end of the year.
it should be.
But my number one positive,
Uh-huh.
and honestly, you could go either way with this because I thought Jordan Davis was a hell of a player. He made a couple
Mm-hmm.
really nice plays that big guys
Half
don't
a
do, but
sack and a forced fumble.
dude, he was all over the field considering how it is. But Jalen Carter, man, I can't believe the NFL let the Eagles get Jalen Carter because,
I
oh my, dude, he is a
love it.
problem. He was taking on double teams. He looked like Aaron Donald out there.
He
I mean, like,
he
I know
looked
he was
good.
doing really good
He
against third
looked
string
good.
offenses in training camps, but dude, this is against first string offense. Like, he is a problem already.
Did
Like, this
you
wasn't we were waking a couple weeks. Like, he is a problem.
do you know how many times I rewatched his sack and he's getting held, grabs
Oh,
Mac
he's a
Jones with one
force.
arm while getting held and just pulls
How
him
many
down.
double
Like,
teams? How many double
oh my
teams did you see him
god.
on? Did you see Fletcher Cox come to life? That was
Oh
more
yeah.
I saw of Fletcher Cox than I saw all of last
He
year.
was out that whole drive, I think, and then he came in right near the goal line and made back to back huge tackles. I was
Yeah,
like,
you know what? It's give it a
clutch.
couple weeks. Give it a couple weeks, but the rotation is going to be Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis first and second downs, and then
Yeah,
Jalen Carter and Fletcher Cox on passing downs, and Milton Williams whenever you get bored. Because
yeah.
man, Jalen Carter cannot leave that field.
No,
He is a menace.
I
I
didn't see.
can't believe we got him.
I didn't see too much of Nolan Smith. I'm guessing they're working him in slow. Um,
What's the rush?
and even BG, I
Sweat
feel
look
like wasn't
good.
wasn't in too much unless he was
But
just hidden the whole time.
exactly,
But
what's the rush? Reddick is a
yeah,
bona fide superstar. Sweat look good. Graham's going to play before Nolan Smith. It'll be fine. But
yeah,
forget Nolan Smith. Like I love him, but Jordan Davis was incredible. Jalen Carter is going to ruin the NFL. Like
yeah. I'm.
there is
That's
some
why
problems there.
I want to see what they do against Minnesota, a more high power offense. Um,
Are they? They
yeah,
scored
yeah,
they scored pretty much the same exact points as the Patriots did.
yeah. But they're still they still can go. I mean, Justin Jefferson could go off at any time.
I mean, who
They
else you
have
got besides Justin Jefferson? Oh,
Hawkinson,
okay. They
Addison's
got a
pretty
tight end.
solid.
He's a rookie.
I don't
I
know.
mean, the Vikings scored less points than the Patriots did against a much inferior defense.
Sure, but I'm just that again. The Bills had 13 points and they have a really good offense. So I
Quote
mean,
me now. Quote me now. Bring me back to 20. What are we in? 2023. Bring me back to 2022. We have some doubts. I can actually visualize me and you arguing about how terrible Jonathan Gannon's defense was and he couldn't stop the freaking Lions. And then
yes.
we smashed the Vikings and everything turned it around. We will smash the Vikings.
Well,
It won't be close. We will crush the
all
Vikings.
I'm just laying out all the groundwork for all the issues I saw week one. I don't
Sure.
think they're gonna persist, most of them. Um, but yeah, I think the defense is going to end up being better than it was last year.
Well,
Um,
Jonathan Gannon isn't here anymore, so obviously
that looked a lot
he's
like
over.
Jonathan Gannon's defense, though. So I
He's
mean,
over there hyping
corner
up millionaires on SEPTA
we
buses.
had we had cornerbacks all the way back in Citizens Bank Park, trying to cover receivers. So we'll
That's
see.
true.
But again, it's his first time as the Eagles, defensive coordinator. It's who's the is it Clay? Is he the offensive coordinator? Forget his name.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson. I think Clay's the special teams coach, which special teams again looks like a liability, but
I mean, it is
besides
what it is.
besides field goals, but
Remember
just
when it
Jake
was like
solid.
week 14 last year and we were bitching about our special teams? Like, if you're bitching about special teams, unless you're the Buffalo Bills, like it's a good thing to bitch about.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All
I'm
right.
not worried. I think your ridiculous grades about C minus and D is insane. They
I'll give all
won.
right.
It's
I'll
week
give
one. Nothing's going to be pretty.
I'll give the defense a B minus because I looked over the stats
Give
again
the
and
defense a B minus.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm not going higher than a B minus. They should have had
They give
10
up
sacks when the 3 out of 5 of the starters for the fucking Patriots offensive line was out. That's no excuse. They need to get after the quarterback. I don't care if he gets it out as soon as he gets the ball. They need to get
a
after
pick
him.
six and a fumble for a touchdown, a forced fumble for a touchdown drive doesn't mean anything.
I mean, they gave up. They let him throw 59 fucking times or 54 times. So, I mean, they were on the
I
field way
mean,
too much. I think the offense didn't do them any favors.
well, exactly. That
But
I'm more concerned. I'm not. I have no worries about the defense.
I'm saying they're going to get better. But I'm telling you, that was a B minus. Look, that's a part of the game. If they're on the field too much, I'm not giving them a
I
B
think.
minus.
Look at all. All right, fine. Well, I agree with you on
Mac
the
Jones
offense, but
is
look at
not a world beater here. We shouldn't have
sure.
even let
But
him get.
Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis looked incredible. Sure, Hassan Reddick didn't show up, but N'Kobe Dean looked great up until he got hurt. I thought Blankenship played well. Slay was obviously incredible. Bradbury, I mean, I don't know, he was there, but there's enough to be happy about. I think the offense hurt the defense more than anything. I think the defense gave you a lot to be excited about.
Sure.
The offense will figure it out. I mean, you have an offense of Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith. I'm not worried at all. I'm more worried about the defense because you have 1 and 2 year guys in key roles. The offense could not care less. They'll figure it out. I know
All right.
my biggest negatives were offense, but they'll figure it out.
Well, yes, quick turnaround Thursday night. So, they got
They're
to take
going
care
to
of
crush
business.
the Vikings.
I sure hope
You heard it
so.
here
I
first.
sure hope
They're going
so.
to crush them.
Moving on, I think we got enough of our Eagles vents and excitements out. The Lions stunned the Chiefs on NFL opening night last Thursday. I mean, Chiefs didn't. Boy, does it. You take away your best defender and your best offensive weapon. I mean, obviously things are going to be rough, but the Chiefs
Naturally.
looked like a different team without those two players.
They looked like they had one of the greatest football players of all time with a whole bunch of scrubs.
They looked
That's pretty
like
much what
the
they had.
Chiefs when they were in the Super Bowl and they just couldn't block Mahomes. But instead of not being able to block him, nobody could catch the ball because Kadarius Toney had 3 drops and looked like he just didn't know where he was.
I'll be the first to admit I'm very unathletic and don't have great coordination. I could have easily caught at least one of those 3 balls. Easily. Easily.
I will say it made me a little sick to see CJ Gardner-Johnson, who I wanted the Eagles to re-sign, ball out. And then Brian Branch, who I wanted the Eagles to draft, also ball out. But hey man, Lions D's come a long way. They look much better. I mean, their offense, I mean, honestly, they probably should have blown the Chiefs out a little bit more here. They only won by 1 point, but
listen, it's the Chiefs, man. You got Mahomes, you got Andy Reid. You're not going to get blown out.
yeah, I mean, I had my defensive rookie of the year and Jalen Carter looked really good. Jameer Gibbs, my offensive rookie of the year, did not look. You don't really get the ball much. I think that'll
I don't
change.
know. He looked pretty. I don't know. I thought he looked pretty good.
Well, he looked good, but I'm saying he didn't get a ton of. I mean, Montgomery I think got more touches, but
I mean, what did you want him to touch the ball 1,800 times a game?
no, but Chiefs will rebound. Spoiler, maybe not this week because I think I have an upset coming, but
Oh, do you?
yeah, possibly.
Right.
Another upset we had. The Browns trounced the Bengals 24-3 at home in Cleveland in the dog pound.
Keep that in mind when you want to be giving the Eagles C pluses and D minuses. We did not get blown out by a division opponent in week 1.
I'm just being. I mean, I would give the Bengals F and an F. I mean,
Well,
I'm pretty harsh critic.
Right, I mean,
But I mean, Watson and the offense looked like decent, and but man, that defense with what was it, Darius Smith and Myles Garrett might be the scariest duo coming off the edge there. That's terrifying. Did you see the play? There was a replay of Myles Garrett was waiting for the ball to snap, and he was just like, doing like crossovers in the air with his like pretending he had a basketball, just doing crossovers. And as soon as the ball snapped, he just fucking went and sacked the quarterback. I was like,
well, there's
oh,
some people that
man.
just like genetically different. All right, bigger concern or bigger notice. How good the Browns defense line is, or how terrible the Bengals offense line is.
How good the Browns defensive line looked. I think the Browns
Yeah.
defense as a whole looked really, really good. I mean, Denzel Ward, healthy.
He did show out.
He's gonna be good this year. Because that was a question mark, because their offense has weapons, and if Watson can play decent enough, I said this before, like I think they can win at least half their games. So I did the Browns. The Browns will brown, and I'm sure they'll have games where they'll look like crap. But I think they showed out. I mean, I had them making the playoffs this year, and I think this is a good sign for them. So another game we had with some nasty injuries. The Ravens beat the Texans 25-9. Texans are very much still rebuild mode, but it is what it is.
I mean, they played.
Ravens lost another running back, but they have to be the most injury prone team in the last decade. I have never seen a team just have injury after injury every single year.
What do you mean? J.K. Dobbins makes up 60% of the injury list.
I was gonna say,
it's just the same person.
Did he tear his
over and
ACL
over again.
last year?
That's what I mean, dude. Like, pour one out for J.K. Dobbins because those legs are never moving again.
Man. Yeah, especially running backs. Like coming back from those injuries is rough.
It's tough.
But Lamar looked a little shaky, and then he settled in a bit. But I mean, they took care of business. So, the team that Tim's been shitting on, who is also Tim's favorite must-see TV team, the Vikings, lost to the Buccaneers 20-17. You have Baker Mayfield
game,
running for big chunks of yards, stiff arming cornerbacks, telling them to get in the weight room, it's a little
He
concerning.
lived for those moments. He lived for those moments.
What did he say? He's like, "Get your fucking weight up, little boy," or something like that. Like, I was like, "Oh,
Listen,
okay."
a guy like Baker who just loves to trash talk, he
Oh
lives for
yeah.
those moments.
I don't like Baker, but I like the trash talking. I think it's funny coming from a quarterback. But
To be fair, the game went to the wire.
yeah, classic Vikings. Classic
Entertainment.
Vikings. Another game that opened up in the second half. Falcons beat the Panthers 24-10. Bijan looks like the real deal. Had a nice juke for a touchdown. And even the backup, Algier had I think 100 close to 100 yards rushing. So it looks like they're gonna
Sure, but
gonna use both of them quite a bit there.
I mean, you got two Ferraris parked in a parking garage. Like,
Hmm,
let Drake London, Kyle Pitts out, man. How fast can a
yeah.
Ferrari go in a parking garage? Like they are just there's too
That's what
much
I'm saying. The
passing
Falcons have
potential.
some
Yeah, but they
weapons.
they don't have a quarterback and the offensive system is not built for passing. So it's disappointing, but I mean, I think it's going to be more of the same.
Oh, and I gotta do a nice cheers to my top five safety, Mr. Jesse Bates,
Oh, here we
balling
go.
out when you were giving him all that shit about going to the crappy Falcons that he wasn't gonna be as good, and he had a
Okay.
phenomenal game.
They
So
beat like a rookie quarterback. He picked off a rookie quarterback twice. Congratulations.
hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do. Miles Sanders looked pretty solid for the Panthers. I think he
That's
had a
true.
fumble or something, but
That sounds like Miles Sanders.
yeah, attaboy. um,
If there was ever a player that I just was so happy it was not going to be back in his Eagle, that's Miles Sanders.
Here's a game that I heard nothing about until I looked at the scoreboard. Commanders beat the Cardinals 20-16. I don't know what happened in this game. I didn't
Who
see
cares?
like I was watching football all day and I saw highlights from I think every game. I don't think I saw a single highlight from this game. Like I don't know what happened, but hey, Commanders won.
They played football. Yeah.
Yeah, they did play football. Um Another team that played football, the Jaguars beat the Colts 31-21. A lot of these games were pretty close at halftime, and then the better team typically pulled away. But
It's
man,
week one, baby.
Calvin Ridley, baby, he is back.
Yeah.
Happy for my fantasy team, but yeah, I'm excited for the Jaguars. They looked good. I know it was the Colts, but I mean,
I thought
ETN
I
was looking good too, and
I
even
thought Anthony
Zay
Richardson looked
Jones.
pretty well. I
Yeah,
thought Anthony
he
Richardson looked
did.
pretty well though.
He did.
He's in a good system. He's very raw, but he's in a good system, and I think they're going to take advantage of
Hey,
his skill set.
10
I think he's going to be a problem.
10 point loss to a playoff team from last year with your rookie coach and rookie quarterback. That's a good game. That's a good game for the Colts. And no
Not to
Jonathan
rush
Taylor
back.
either.
It's very true. Not to rush back to another wide receiver that hasn't done anything and had a comeback. Michael Thomas had a couple plays. The Saints beat the Titans 16-15, and again another Commanders versus Cardinals. I forgot they were playing game,
Yeah, I didn't see any.
but he went
Yes.
he went for 5 receptions, 61 yards. Like I know it's nothing sexy, but I remember
Okay.
watching a highlight. He had like a 20-yard reception. I remember a highlight, and I was like, oh shit, that's Michael Thomas. Like that's actually the guy that I keep drafting on my fantasy team for the last 3 years, and he never plays.
I will say I did see one highlight, and it was Derek Carr scrambling outside and overthrowing Michael Thomas in the end zone. And I was like, oh, is that Michael Thomas he's playing? So
Give it time. Give it time.
yeah, so that game happened. But another nail biter. Jimmy G and the Raiders took care of Russell Wilson and the Broncos 17-16. Also saw no highlights from this game. But
Jimmy G left at some point. I don't know who the backup for the Raiders
oh,
are, but
did
I was
he?
watching this on Red Zone and I was like, who the fuck is that?
Hmm.
I still don't know. I mean, blame me for
Was
poor
it
research because it's Tuesday and I haven't looked
they
into it
have
yet.
funny enough, they have a quarterback on their team who wears number 4, and he looks very similar to Derek Carr. It's like, what are the chances? Someone was like, he looks like he would play Derek Carr in a movie. So
I
but
mean, if
yeah.
he's wearing his number, you would assume he has some kind of like, he's got to like capitalize on that. Like you got to grow out the beard, you got to look like him, otherwise what's the point of wearing his number?
Yeah. I did see a highlight actually. It was Jimmy G got like a first down to help seal the game on a QB run. So um what else we got here? I this might be my surprise of the week. The Rams beat the Seahawks 30-13.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
I was really thinking the Seahawks are going to be a good playoff caliber team this year. I mean, not really because of Geno, but I think the pieces around them, they have a good receiving group, good running backs. Their defense is getting better. But I mean, Matt
I
Stafford
think
looked like Matt Stafford of old, 334 yards. They had two receivers over 100 yards I've never heard of.
see,
So
but that's the thing. Like, I wasn't super hot on Geno coming into the year, but that's the difference. Is like Geno has a good year with Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. Matthew Stafford just rolls out with terrible wide receivers and dominates. Like they're two
you
different
have
players. I don't.
Puka Nakua, who I've never heard of, 10
Yeah,
catches, 119 yards, and Tutu Atwell. Where do they get these names from? 6 catches, 119 yards.
I'm not buying Geno Smith. I didn't buy him preseason. Like I
No,
thought the
he's
last year was
he's a
cute, but
he's a decent quarterback. He could start on most teams that don't have an
he's
elite
better off.
level.
I don't know. I'm surprised that he started on a. Were they a playoff team last year? I don't think
Yeah, they
they.
were.
Yeah, they were. They
Yeah.
were. Yeah, they got smashed in the first round, but they did
16
show
for
up.
26, 112 yards for Geno. But no
That's
picks.
terrible.
But they did do nothing. I mean, DK had
He's the Geno
47
is a
yards, Kenneth Walker at 64.
Geno's
That was it.
Geno's a backup quarterback, and I feel like we're going to see him come crashing back to life. I feel like there's a better chance that the Rams win their division over the Seahawks. While obviously the Niners are going to bully everyone
Well,
who
yeah.
went on to smash the Steelers. But I feel more confident with Matthew Stafford in a terrible roster than I do Seahawks and Geno Smith with a very nice offense.
Mm. All right. Probably what most people would say game of the week, and unfortunately we didn't get to watch it because it was on the same time as the Eagles game, unless you were streaming two games at the same time.
That's what I do.
The Dolphins beat the Chargers 36-34
Shootout.
in phenomenal game. I mean, Tua looked crazy, 466 yards, 3 tutties. You had Herbert threw for over 200. Tyreek Hill, 11 catches, 215 yards,
Unreal.
2 touchdowns. It was crazy. Crazy,
Listen, the
man.
Dolphins are a good team. They're just one concussion away from not being
Yeah.
relevant. They
Yeah.
weren't a bad team last year. It was just Tua
They
could not stay healthy.
was it what? Did they start out slow or they ended slow? I can't remember.
Well, Tua got his brain scrambled and then they ended slow.
Okay, so because they were like what, 7-1 or 6-1 because they were right
Oh
there with
yeah,
the
he was
Eagles.
cooking.
Yeah.
He's just unfortunately at that point, like there is no concussion protocol for Tua. Like if he gets hit in the head, like that's it. He's not coming back. He's out for
Yeah.
the year. There is no protocol. Let's see how he looks in 2 weeks. Like that's it. He's so tender right now. There's no way.
Hopefully he stays healthy because they looked pretty good.
They
Chargers
did
though,
look
their
really good.
defense they're the weirdest. They have so much talent on that defense, and yet every year they're just like terrible. They just give up so many points. I don't know. Tim's I'm sure gonna gloat about this. Jordan Love and the Packers looked pretty good. 38-20 over the Chicago Bears. And meanwhile, Justin Fields looked like dog water.
Dog water. That is insult compliment. Where are we going with that?
That's an
That's a
insult.
new one.
Would you drink dog water?
I mean, it depends on how fresh it is.
Okay. Well, 216 yards, a touchdown interception for Fields. I mean, he ran for 60, but like this looks like the same Bears of old, and he got all these weapons, like upgrades on the team, and it's the same story so far. Now,
I am so happy. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but I'm giddy when we match up. I don't think Justin Fields is that good. I agree with you.
If they suck halfway through the year, I would not be surprised if they try to drive a quarterback and like if they got a top 5 pick.
I mean,
Would
it's
not
gonna be a
shock me.
weird draft. Listen, it's gonna be a weird draft. Not, I mean, we're in week 1 of the NFL season, so but the Cardinals have potentially 2 top 5 picks.
Mhm.
They have a franchise quarterback under contract, which is the big thing. I mean, yeah, they drafted Josh Rosen top 10 and then moved on from next year, but like Murray is locked to them. They're gonna have to give up a lot to get rid of him if they want to do that.
I don't even know where he would go at this point.
Exactly.
I could see in a weird
Oh, the
way, I could see him
Bears,
getting shipped to Seattle.
dude, the top 5, the Caleb Williams sweepstakes might come down to 2 teams. You have the Bears with their own pick and the
Mhm.
Panthers pick, and then the Cardinals with their pick. and the Texans pick. Two teams that are locked into their quarterbacks. I
I
mean,
I already
Cardinals have the
heard.
contract, but the Bears passed up on the first overall pick this year. Are they going to do it again?
I don't know. I mean, I forget what I was reading. Somebody said the Texans, if they end up with the number one pick, could take Williams. I'm like, well, I just don't. Unless he's like
Well, the
astronomically
Texans don't have a first round pick.
promised to be better. I don't.
Well,
I
the
don't know.
Texans don't have a first round pick, so I think that'd be complicated.
That's true. Maybe whoever I was
Moving
listening
on.
to was an idiot then. All right, so that was that, and then a game that I don't know how to feel about. The Cowboys smacked the Giants 40-0. I mean,
They did. Didn't see that one coming.
that was a weird. I put it on. I put the game on, and like the Giants got the ball. They were driving down the field. Saquon was looking good, and then all of a sudden, it was like disaster struck. Like Pompeii had struck, and lava was flowing everywhere, and it was like interception and fumble and like just poor execution and terrible play calling, and like the Giants just imploded. I've never seen a team just shit the bed so much. Like they looked like they were scared. I was just,
Can I just rattle off?
I don't know.
So this is one of those games that like you gotta understand with the time difference. I gotta pick and choose when I'm gonna like invest myself. The Cowboys winning 40-0 is not a game I'm investing myself in.
No,
To wake up the next morning and look at Dak Prescott's just stat line 13 of
that
24
was
with
that was
143 yards and no touchdowns.
that was my next point.
Like what the that's horrendous.
Yeah,
And then you look at the score and you're like, oh my god, they won 40-0. How
I
the
was
fuck
gonna
did that happen?
I was gonna say if I told you that Prescott had 143 yards, zero touchdowns, and Daniel Jones had 104 yards, zero touchdowns, you think the game was gonna be 40-0?
The
No,
Cowboys
it would have been like
number
three
one
to
wide
six.
receiver Tony Pollard had a fumble. Like
Yeah, two
reading
tutties
Dak
though.
Prescott's stat line and their number one
This,
running back getting a fumble. Like, where the hell happened?
these their stats are like halftime stats. Like they're not. It
It's
looks like they
insane.
didn't play a full game. Like Darren Waller at 36 yards, CeeDee Lamb at 77, Pollard at 70 rush yards, Barkley at 51. Like,
Again, like
it's a weird
you gotta
game.
pick and choose your games, and I didn't put any effort in watching this game, so I don't actually know what happened.
It was just the
But
giant special Cowboys defense and special teams was just wrecking havoc. I mean, Micah Parsons,
so I'm
he
just
looked like a
assuming
demon.
Daniel
He
Jones
looked
was
like a
just
demon.
handing it off to Micah Parsons
Pretty much.
frequently.
Yeah, pretty much. He was
Okay,
like, I don't want it. Take it. I'm
there you
scared.
go. He hit him with
Um,
the Geno, oh my god, and then just
but
gave him the ball.
but I will. I'm loving. I'm actually loving all of this Cowboys, like pro Cowboys talk right now, because I can't wait for it to come crashing down when people realize that that was just like a really good defensive performance, and the Giants played like dog shit, and you had Prescott didn't have to do anything. He threw for 100 fucking yards. Like you're not the Cowboys are not going to look that good. Their defense is going to win them some games, but until Prescott proves he can be consistent, I can't wait till everyone gets a rude awakening.
So
But
wait, are you telling me that Daniel Jones is not worth 40 million a year? Maybe
hmm,
Saquon is worth more than like 10, but you know what?
hmm,
We digress.
hmm. And the final game, which has probably the biggest implications of the year so far, the Jets pulled off a thrilling. Well, I wouldn't say thrilling. It was thrilling at the end
I mean,
game.
it was there.
Well, okay, for someone who like me who likes a lot of defense, like when it's like good defense, not like four and outs every time.
So
Um,
you love special teams and three and outs. You're a
no,
big
not
three
three and
yard
outs.
halfback
No, I
dive kind
like
of
I
guy.
like competitive games, but where the defense wins, like the matchups. So like
Fair
offense will
enough.
start driving and then they make a big play or like an interception, whatever. Anyways, so Jets won 22-16 in overtime. Josh Allen, I'm gonna have to, you know, copyright this phrase, but he looked like dog shit, dog
He
water,
did.
dog
He
poo,
looked
whatever you want to call it.
dog water. That's a new one.
You never heard
That's the
dog
one we're
water?
going with. Don't act like dog water is a thing.
It is a thing. I'm gonna Urban Dictionary
You've
this right
never
now.
once heard dog water.
100%.
I mean, listen,
You've been in
if
London too long.
If you're gonna drop it, you have to stick to it. Don't give me this. Dog shit, sure. That's a common phrase. Dog water, no. You're just psyching yourself out here. If you're gonna say something ridiculous, you got to stick to it. Dog water is something
Urban
that only you.
Urban Dictionary says dog water is a way of saying trash. Something is
That's the
dog
most
water.
ridiculous.
It's
What about
trash.
dog water is trash? I don't put dog water. I have a dog. I don't put his water in the trash. I let it evaporate or he drinks it. That's it.
Another
Or I
phrase,
drink it,
when you're
depending on how fresh it
absolute
is.
garbage at what you do, you're literally dog water. You've never heard that phrase?
I think we're getting too cute over dog shit. I think dog shit is
It's
perfectly
dog
adequate.
water.
No, no, no. I think dog shit has been perfectly adequate for the last 20 years. And then people now want to get cute with dog water.
All right, whatever. Josh
Oh,
Allen did not look good. He threw what, four interceptions, three interceptions, and
three
had a
interceptions,
fumble.
one fumble.
Oof.
Brutal. Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers, listen,
Man,
let me put it up. I touched on this. I'm not his fan, but this is probably it.
this is, yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Cheers
A-Rod.
to a Hall of Fame career. I liked him. Listen, I liked him when he had the WWE World Heavyweight Championship with Clay Matthews and they beat the Steelers.
Yeah.
But
That
didn't
was the
like the
cool Aaron
whole
Rodgers. And then he
yeah,
went,
didn't like the whole Jeopardy,
yeah.
the whole sitting in darkness, mushrooms, Aaron Rodgers. But listen, I think it's comfortable to say like he signed a 2-year contract with the Jets. He's obviously out this year. You're looking at least a year and a half rehab. He probably I'm pretty confident he won't be. I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty confident he won't be ready for week 1 next year. He's 40. Do you really want to go through all this rehab? I don't know, but I think there's a very good chance that this is probably it. So,
I gotta think
never
he's
been a
gonna,
true
yeah.
fan, but pour one out.
I gotta think this could mean retirement for him. That's I look, I there's you never wish a player to get injured because I would never want to go through that shit. But in any normal circumstance, like you just like you have to like feel shitty for them. Like for Jets fans, for Rodgers,
Oh yeah.
you
Oh yeah.
you spent your whole Hall of Fame career with one team. You get a chance to adventure out. You move to a whole new city. You're part of a whole new team. You're able to bring on players that you want. You assembled your own wide receiver roster group. You had all this offseason. You were on Hard Knocks. You know, you're getting excited. You got the Jets are in top 10 rankings. They're going to be in the
Yep.
playoffs. The Jets haven't had good team this good. They haven't looked this good in a while. And then what, 4 plays into the season and you're out for the whole year, possibly your whole career now. It sucks. And I mean, like you said,
Tough.
I've really soured on Rodgers. I'm not really a fan of him anymore. Not, I mean, I never was, but at least, you know, I can respect the game. Very much like Brady. Respect the game, but yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's tough.
I two different animals. Brady never went on Jeopardy or climbed in a cave to do
Yeah,
mushrooms in the
but he
dark
won
and call
7
it his
Super
receivers.
Bowls and beat your team in the Super Bowl once. So,
Completely irrelevant. I have more respect for Brady as a winner than I do Aaron
oh,
Rodgers,
I have
who
more respect for
hosts
Brady,
Jeopardy.
but I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
All right. Well,
Anyways,
moving on. Are you in a bad mood or a good mood? I'm assuming you're in a bad mood.
let me think. My, yeah, let's go bad mood first, so I can have cheery vibes at the end.
I mean, you're Mr. C minus on a defense that had a pick 6, gave up 20 points, and had a fumble, forced fumble for a touchdown drive. But we'll
I
stick
mean,
to it. All right. So this list has got a little firepower to it. So we're gonna start the week 1 dud list with a Super Bowl hero and 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And
Bulls.
my third dud here right now. Boy, does life come at you fast. 1 week, or actually 1 day. I mean, like shit, 3 days beforehand, you're signing the richest contract in NFL history. Life is good. You got the
Hmm.
flow going on
Hmm.
that contract signing picture. You're
Hmm.
examining. You got the pensmanship. Life is good. And then you roll out to your division opponent on week 1 and you go 14 to 31 for 82 yards. And Dakota, that is not your last math test grade. That is
Oh,
82 yards.
that's actually pretty accurate. I was very much a B math student.
82 yards, no touchdowns, just nothing sexy. You were
They were
getting your
bad.
ass
They were
chased
bad.
up and down. It was like his old childhood neighborhood and all of his old booty calls from high school running him down for that new contract. That defensive line was chasing him his entire life. So listen, one day you're signing a big contract for big money. The next day, you're getting absolutely ruined by your division rival
Mm-hmm.
in an embarrassing, and this is why I keep emphasizing embarrassing, because the Eagles, yeah, they didn't look good, but they did win. Good teams find a way to win.
Sure.
So in an embarrassing division loss, Mr. Joe Burrow
There
comes
was
in as
there was no ice. His shit was melted.
the richest man in NFL history and got just destroyed. Really no other way to look about it.
You could say the ice melted and he looked like dog water.
Okay. All right, so moving on to one of the other best quarterbacks in the NFL, another
Oh.
AFC quarterback, another quarterback that dropped a game to a division opponent in an
Ooh.
ugly loss.
Ooh.
He lives and he dies by just the big plays. Like, don't get me wrong,
Mm.
he is Mr. Electric. He makes plays no one else can. He's a force in the running game. He put up some stats, better than, Joe Burrow, not saying much. 29 to 41, 236. He did have a touchdown, but dude, this guy he's just so reckless. He makes a couple more splash plays than prime Carson Wentz did, but 5 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a fumble. That is horrendous. You lost to Zach Wilson on a walk-off punt return touchdown. Like where do you want to find confidence here? If you lost to Aaron Rodgers with 3 interceptions, a forced fumble, and 5 sacks, you still wouldn't feel good. You scored 16 points. Tyler Bass had what, 9 of them?
Mm-hmm.
Outrageous. He looked awful. He looked like everything that is holding back Josh Allen from being truly great is what you saw on Monday Night Football. Just horrendous football. Passes that didn't need to be made, fumbles that were just in the worst possible time. Just really horrendous decision making and playmaking.
I
Really
feel like
tough. So
Josh Allen plays like he's playing like street ball, or backyard football. Like he gives zero fucks about what could possibly happen. He's just like, I'm just
yeah,
gonna
but I
fucking
mean,
chug it. Like,
15 points. This is why, I mean, Josh Allen's always been like this in his career. And we
yeah.
talked about this in our top 10 rankings, because obviously now
Yeah.
we're starting to catch on,
That's
because
why we
last year
didn't
was
have
rough.
him. I don't think any of us had him top three for this
Yeah,
exact reason.
this is the now people are catching on. Like, I mean, yeah,
Well,
he
because we're
makes some
geniuses,
incredible
but
plays, of course. But he makes some incredible plays, don't get me wrong, but 15 points, you didn't make any incredible plays. You cost your team this win that you should have had easily. You were playing Zach Wilson. Like, what are you doing?
yeah, I
But
mean,
moving on. So
yeah,
Josh Allen is my number 2 dud. And don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow and Josh Allen both deserve to be number 1 dud, but they're both very good players. I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not. I'm not going to be that guy who's trying to tell you they're terrible, they're awful, they're the worst quarterbacks ever. They're going to win their team many games this year. They're going to keep their teams in the playoff contention, and they're going to take them very far in the playoffs. But there's one player who is so irrelevant, looks like a goblin, has the worst picture in history because he has this like cheap knockoff JC Penney ski mask that doesn't even cover his face. He looks like a gargoyle. He sucks at football, and he can't catch a goddamn ball.
uh,
Because if I had 3 of those opportunities, I would have caught at least one of them.
I was like, where are you going
But
with this?
what do you
It looks like a
what moment,
gargoyle.
like, find me bigger moments than having a ball bounce off your hands for a pick six, or dropping a ball on a first and down, like a fourth and out drive to win the game, and they had a
Mm-hmm.
20-yard reception, hit his hands, and he drops it. Those are just the two just disgusting national TV. This guy's awful drops. He had another one thrown in there for good measure. And I know this is Thursday Night Football. A lot's happened since then, but like a fine wine, I'm worth the wait. So Kadarius Toney, mostly because I hate you because of your stupid punt return, your draft status with the Giants, and the fact that you're irrelevant and look like a gargoyle. You
Yeah,
suck.
coming for
You
his
had an
throat.
opportunity. No, fuck him. You had an opportunity with Travis Kelce down. I hope every
That
loser
is
that
true.
drafted him in
Yeah.
fantasy or ever thought that, oh, Juju's out, Kelsey's hurt, Hardman's out, Kadarius Toney, that's the guy. He's
I
irrelevant.
mean,
He sucks. Patrick Mahomes couldn't breathe life into that corpse. That gargoyle is the worst ever.
see on your
He is
fantasy
the
team?
number one dud. No, no, fuck. You
Okay.
think you're out of
I
your
mean,
mind.
you're going at him. I don't know.
I know I haven't gone over that punt return because he's such a hateable player. He's the Eli Apple of offense.
I
The
mean,
only difference,
yeah.
the only difference is that asshole has a Super Bowl ring, and he had a punt return
Well,
that
the punt
shouldn't have
return
mattered, but
happened
it did.
last year, but yeah, I understand what you're saying. Can I give
Well,
an honorary dud?
I mean, it won't be respected, but go ahead.
I don't know what his name is, but the Bills punter for a top 10 worst tackle attempt I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, that was awful.
He jumped in the air and like tried to push him. And I was like, what are you trying to achieve? You're pushing him towards the middle of the field, not even the sideline. Like I just
You know what that looked like?
if I'm a
Middle
punter, I'm
school.
fucking laying out there. I don't want the game to be all my fault because I punted right to the guy. Oh,
Oh no,
he
no,
made some good
he's
plays. He
he
had a
saw
nice
that
juke.
blocker coming. He saw that blocker coming, and he realized this is my living. You know what it looked like? It looked like a middle school dance when you got the circle going, and you're gonna come out of nowhere and just hop up and give it the shoulder push to your boy because Soldier Boy just hopped on. And you need to kill it. Awful.
What's your boy?
But now that we finished with the Goblin,
The Goblin. I thought he was a
let's move
gargoyle.
on. He's miraculously, it's the most impressive thing he does is he's both.
Every
Let's
Halloween
move in.
costume.
Let's move on to the positive.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on to a guy who, I mean, this one's easy. I mean, third stud. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we got to put some guys out there. Usually, third stud is just there's usually a game where one team just dominates the other, and you have to go pick the guy who had the biggest, stat line. And that's what I'm gonna do. But at the same time, I'm picking a guy who had a little more juice into it than other games. So 8 receptions, 129 yards, and 2 tutties. But not only 2 tutties, but he had fucking one of them, two of them on a future Hall of Famer who went out on his podcast because now everyone's got a podcast and talk shit. So let's go with Brandon Ayuk, who on this first touchdown, made Patrick Peterson go through the slip and slide cycle.
Yeah.
And then on his second touchdown, jumped up, said, "Sit down, little boy. Go chat on your podcast." Because, Patrick Peterson was the honorable mention on this stud list. He had it up until Josh Allen went and had 4 turnovers on Monday Night Football.
Hmm.
But Brandon Ayuk, who gets zero respect because, you got Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle,
I don't like
Deebo
Brandon Ayuk
Samuel.
personally.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he is what he is, but
He's a
don't
bum.
don't act like listen, he went out there and made two very impressive touchdown catches on a future Hall of Famer who called him out.
Hmm.
So Brandon Ayuk is the third stud this week.
Yeah.
Second stud, your boy Jesse Bates was in the conversation,
Hmm.
and he was there. I do this list. I put a couple names on it. I put stars next to names on the ones that are obvious, and he was there again, just like Patrick Peterson. Monday Night Football came around, and then Tyrier Whitehead
Yeah.
had 3 interceptions because
Yeah.
listen, someone has to catch those interceptions Josh Allen's throwing, and he caught all of them.
He
When
had
you factor in the fact that his team lost their starting quarterback and they won the game, and I mean, he was the most important player. I mean, you have to give it to him. It was the biggest upset, I would say, this entire week when you factor in the injury.
yeah.
And he was the most dominant force. So Tyrier Whitehead catching
Yeah.
more receptions by Josh Allen than probably,
Well,
most of the wide receivers on his team.
I think I saw it was either the Jets or the Bills. I think it's the Jets had the same amount of receptions as an offense that he did interceptions. at like one whenever he had his third interception. They only had three
I
catches on
mean,
offense. I was like,
listen,
damn.
when Josh Allen is just throwing it up there for no good reason, someone that he doesn't intend to catch it is going to catch it. And Tyree Whitehead just happened to go catch all of them.
He was good, but now I know who your number one is. So, well,
So
actually, it could be one of two people. So I'm curious which one you picked.
our first stud comes from honestly the best game of week one.
Yeah.
36-34 shootout. In
Mm-hmm.
week one, you never see that.
Well, I mean, Dolphins
Never.
Chargers. I expected this game to be a shootout, but
36-34? Like, I don't know about that. Like,
yeah,
that's 70 points
yeah.
of did you look around the league and see the low scoring that happened?
Yeah. It's
But
September.
I
It's
mean,
going to be polar opposites the whole month, but continue.
let's talk about one of the best like football players in the sport. He is a game changer. 11 receptions for 215 yards. Like we're just gonna act like 200 yards is just common. 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, just dominant fashion. Constantly making plays. Did you see a couple of his deep balls?
I did.
Like they're not even close. Like, I mean, you and me know who, we're intelligent people. We follow the game, but we're not getting paid to do it. Not yet.
Not
We've
yet.
tried for a long time, but you've yet to been paid for it. But we're doing our thing.
We should.
We know that he's very fast. We know that he's very good.
Well, he is called the cheetah.
But there's like other people get paid a lot of money to know this too, and they just don't seem like they do. Because like shit, there was the one touchdown. It was like a 30-yard go route. Like, dude, it's not like 80 yards down the field. It's like 30 or 40 yards or whatever. How
Yeah.
are you letting them beat you that bad?
Yeah.
Play some Jonathan Gannon defense. Be 80 yards off the line of scrimmage. But I mean, it only makes sense. We're gonna give the number one stud spot to one of the elite players in the NFL, probably top
Top
10
three.
NFL player.
Top three.
Oh,
Top three wide receiver. I was going to say, but
he's
yeah,
I
I would say
mean,
top 10 wide receiver or top 10
I
NFL
think
player.
he's making the conversation, but we're
Uh-huh.
gonna go with Tyreek Hill, who on a good Dolphins team, I think the Dolphins will be good. I've thought the Dolphins will be good for as long as Tua stays healthy.
Yeah, it's a big if, but
I mean, it's a big if. I mean, he's one hit to the head, and there is no protocol. He's done. But Tyreek Hill is a menace.
now I have a follow-up question for you.
Go ahead.
In recent memory, can you remember a wide receiver that not only downgraded his quarterback option, but went from a Hall of Fame quarterback to a young up and coming quarterback and got better? Do you remember a receiver who left his quarterback and only got better with a lesser quarterback?
Oh, I mean, you put me on the spot right now.
I know that's
I'd
what I do
say,
best.
I mean, you're okay at it. You're very okay at it. I mean, there's only so many Hall of Fame quarterbacks that we've seen in
Not
our
Hall of
lifetime.
Fame, but I'm saying like, you have a really good starting, upper echelon quarterback. You leave the
All right,
team
I
and
got
you
one.
only become
I got one.
better.
I got one, and this one's obvious because it's not that far off.
What, Alshon?
Davante Adams.
Oh, Devon. Uh, no. Has he been better with the Raiders?
I mean, we both had him as our number one wide receiver last year.
Hmm.
I mean, come on there, buddy. You had him as your number one wide receiver last year with Derek Carr, who I think Derek Carr and Tua are pretty close.
Yeah, I
Aaron
mean,
Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes? Ah, come on now.
I guess that's fair. I can see that. But I mean, everyone, like you said, everyone was. I mean, I was skeptical of how he was going to play when he left Kansas City, but
I mean, he's such a skill set. He's got a skill set that translates. Like
yeah,
the guy, it's not like guys like I throw in a couple names out there, like Michael Thomas or Wes Welker. Those are reception guys that rely on the ball going to them a lot.
hmm,
Devontae Adams just gets open all the time. He's so
yeah,
nasty. He's like Allen Iverson off the line. Tyreek Hill is just so fast.
true.
These guys just get open. They don't need the ball thrown to them 150 times a year. And it doesn't need to be in the perfect spot. They just make plays happen.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, outside that, obviously, I came with my wit, my humor, and my incredible football knowledge really quickly. But outside that, no, I could not name one.
Fair enough. I'll take that. So now, as Tim slides himself inside the
Got cold.
egg, exiting the terrace,
Good.
we're gonna get into some too much whiz, which, I don't know if I want to do this right now because I'm pretty fucking hungry. But I got him for you. Ready, Tim?
Go ahead.
All right. Number one, too much whiz. The Jets are done for without Aaron Rodgers. Then by done for, I mean they're going to miss the playoffs.
I mean, I think the question more comes down to who are they signing? I mean, they benched Zach Wilson twice last year. They
And he
went to
looked
get Aaron
he
Rodgers
looked
because they don't believe in him.
okay against the Bills.
I mean, listen, they won that game against the
Mhm.
Bills, who are very good.
He had some
Defense
good
looks
throws.
good. Defense looks very good. There's players on offense. Garrett Wilson made a hell of a catch. Brees Hall looked
That catch
awesome.
was crazy. That's so
I
much
think
concentration.
I'm gonna say too much whiz. They're too good. They're too good all around.
Okay.
Their offensive line is a little weak. I mean, obviously Rodgers got
I mean, that
hurt, but
first drive, Rodgers was running for his life. I'm like, you can't. This is bad.
I mean, you're not wrong. But listen, you got an incredible run game with those two running backs. Garrett Wilson looks awesome. More importantly, the defense looks so good.
Yeah.
Can
We'll
you
see.
bring in like I don't know, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan?
Can you imagine
I
Carson
mean,
Wentz
I don't
goes to
know.
the Jets and like resurrects his career and they do well? Oh my God.
Carson Wentz is just Zach Wilson 8 years older.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So I I think I think it's going to be too much to overcome for them, but we'll see. Um, my second question: too much whiz after a embarrassing loss to a Rodgersless Jets. Are Sean McDermott and Josh Allen already on the hot seat?
Josh Allen, no, he's already locked in. Look at what the quarterbacks are in the NFL. Desmond Ritter started games. Sam Howell started. There's too many bad quarterbacks for Josh Allen to be on the hot seat. Sean McDermott, on the other hand, find me a team that has underperformed more than the Bills.
Yeah,
But they've constantly underperformed. The Chiefs have been there multiple times. How the Bengals made it once. They just always fall in the big moments.
yeah,
I think the pressure comes on Sean McDermott, but Josh Allen will be fine.
yeah. I like Sean McDermott, so it sucks that he's had so many struggles, but I also think that's kind of in the same vein as Josh Allen, where it's like if you fire Sean McDermott, is there really a better option out there right now? Maybe Bieniemy gets his shot, but
You have a better
I don't
chance of
know.
finding a good coach than you do a good quarterback.
I agree. Like an elite level, like sometimes elite level quarterback in Josh Allen. But all right. And then my final too much whiz, Eagles related. Too much whiz. At this point in his Eagles career, Jake Elliott is better than David Akers.
Oh, oh, that's actually a good question. Look at you
I,
coming
I
with
know.
the
I know.
fierce.
I saw all the field goals he was kind of like, you know what? He's been consistent and reliable, and he makes big time kicks. He makes long field goals. Occasional extra
Listen,
point miss here and there, but
that is a big if. I mean, kickers are a very boring position. You know,
mhm.
they require a certain amount of swagger
But finding
and a
a
certain amount.
good, consistent kicker for multiple years is tough.
Oh, obviously, I'm not saying Jake Elliott's a bad kicker, but I'd take David Akers. He's got the swagger. He's got the incredible draft pick. Like Jake Elliott has been. I mean, he won a Super Bowl. He was he was the kicker for the NFC championship team. But I mean, David Akers was part of an error, and I thought he was more important than Jake Elliott is. I mean, it's a different NFL. The
Okay.
NFL David Akers was in was more
But
defense and
defense
not his
grindy.
offense.
Yeah.
His field goals meant more. Jake Elliott, like you're losing a Super Bowl with what 33 points or whatever the hell they scored.
Yeah,
Jake Elliott doesn't matter in that game.
sure. Now I will say, um, I agree with you. I think it's too soon. I think Akers had, best Eagles kicker ever. Um, he is almost he's almost exactly um halfway to Akers' career. Like Akers has played 188 games, LA's played 97. But they're like he's on the trajectory. If he matches the amount of games Akers played, then he'll eclipse or get very close to his points total because Akers has the most career points for an Eagle with 1,323. Yeah, so
There you go.
but Elliott's close. I didn't realize he was that far away, but then I didn't realize David Akers played that many games. And I remember
That's
how long he
true.
played in the league.
I
So
mean, you're definitely having a conversation. It's a good
for
conversation to have.
sure, for sure. Talent wise, I think it's a question, but I think right now, yeah, Akers probably had. But that's my three too much whiz for the first week of NFL action. So that being said, we can go. I'll ask you, would you like to do power rankings or would you like to do our picks for the week?
Rattle off our powder rankings, and
Powder
then I want to
rankings
roll.
or powder rankings. Okay. All right. So starting off at number 10, we have the Buffalo Bills dropping quite a bit, but still an elite team, still will be in the playoffs. Number 9, we have the Browns, who looked, like we said, defense looked really good. Offense was good enough. I mean, you still have, Nick Chubb, who's my best running back in the league. So see how they do. Bengals dropped a bit. They were, I think, 3 in the preseason rankings. They dropped to 8 after that dismal game. Almost have to drop them back. Lions knocking off the Super Bowl champs, the Chiefs, so they move up to 7. Jaguars, I think, looked really good. They're up at 6. Unfortunately, the Cowboys also look good, at least on defense and special teams, so they're now at 5. Number 4, we have the Dolphins after that, phenomenal offensive showing against the Chargers. Chiefs dropped back 2 spots to number 3. 49ers looked like they're the second best team in the NFC East, so they are number 2. And the Eagles slide up 1 spot because the Chiefs drop back because they also still won their game. So we have the Eagles at number 1 because not going to drop them from losing. So that is
Go
your
Birds.
power rankings. Go Birds, of course. Now,
Okay. Speaking of,
speaking of, so to recap, I had a terrible first week of picks. I was a little bold because I was like, hey, it's week 1. Teams that win, these teams that aren't supposed to win, will win. And I picked the wrong games. So I went 6-10 in game picks. Not my
that's
best.
terrible.
Not my best. You went 7-9, so you weren't much better.
Week 1.
And then we had Nick pick our guest picks, and he went 10-6. I feel like Nick always does well, so good thing we keep him on the guest list.
Longevity.
For this week, I got my buddy Mike doing game picks. He's been on a couple episodes of Talk to Birds, and so he got me his picks over, and we will run through it. So starting off, we have obviously Eagles and the Vikings on Thursday Night Football. So I don't think there's much debate here. I'm going to go
The Eagles
Birds.
will smash the Vikings.
Again, I'm not so sure about the smash, but we'll see.
Yeah, they will.
All right. Well, next game. Oh well, Mike also picked the Eagles. First game on Sunday, we have the Packers at the Falcons. Mike is picking Green Bay. Who do you like?
I'd have to go with Jordan Love. The Falcons did not excite me. Jordan Love did.
Sadly, I agree with you. I was actually surprised by Jordan Love's play. He looked pretty good, honestly. I mean, as the Bears looked bad on defense, but they show out when you have to. So next game we have is the Raiders at the Bills. I think this is a bounce back game for the Bills, so I'm going to take Buffalo.
I agree as well. Yeah, the Bills are better than the Jets without Aaron Rodgers, and they're better than the Raiders. There's no way they lose both these games.
Agreed. Mike also took Buffalo there. Let's see. Next game we have Baltimore at Cincinnati. This is a pretty big game. Mike is taking Baltimore.
It's got to be another bounce back game. The Bengals are too good to lose 2 division games back to back.
I I think since at home you can't go 0-2, and Joe Burrow after that huge contract cannot put up 80 yards again. So far I'm agreeing with you again. Cincinnati for me. Next game we have Seattle at Detroit. Mike is picking Detroit.
You know what? I mean, what did Seattle do? I mean, they got blown out by a shitty team. Detroit
Yeah.
went and knocked off the defending Super Bowl champs. I mean, roll with the Lions. They got a long week.
Yeah, I'm also gonna roll with the Lions here. I think a lot of these games are gonna be pretty one-sided this week. Next game we have is Chargers at the Titans. Mike is taking the Chargers. I will also be taking the Chargers.
I mean, you have one team that put up 34 points and the other team that don't looks like they don't know how to play offense. So yeah, I'm going
I mean, I
Chargers.
already wrote down Chargers for you because I didn't think you were gonna go with the upset there. But
Yeah.
next game is Chicago at Tampa.
Well, let's go Baker Mayfield. Tampa's got some juice.
Um, Mike also took Tampa. You know what? I'm kind of
Go ahead, do it.
no, I'm not gonna do it. I agree. I
Oh,
think the Bucks look pretty decent. Um, but yeah, I did not. I was not impressed with the Bears in any facet. They look bad on both sides of the ball. So, um, next game we have is where is it? Oh, here is my upset of the week. Which now I'm mad because Mike also picked the Jaguars to beat the Chiefs. But yeah, KC at Jacksonville. I know
oh no,
0-2 for the
I'm so
Chiefs sounds
no,
whack,
I'm
and I
taking
think
the Chiefs. What do you
Jones
mean?
should be back,
Because
Kelsey should be back, but
what? I'm sorry, you just mentioned Kelsey and Jones are going to be back. What are we talking about? I'm taking the Chiefs. They have a long week. They just lost week one. No, it's the Chiefs. It's not even close.
hmm. I didn't factor in the fact that they've been off since last Thursday.
No, go ahead. Make your cute little upset prediction. I'm taking the Chiefs.
No, actually, I think I might agree with you now.
Oh, you're such a cop out.
Well, I didn't. I didn't know. I just saw Chris Jones had signed a 1-year contract. So, all right, I'm gonna change my pick. I'm gonna go KC as well. I think the Jags will
Disappointed.
will. I don't know. Yeah, it's too
On to the
soon.
next one.
Too soon. We have the Colts at the Texans. Wow, that's a fucking primetime game right there.
You know what? I saw more out of the Colts. I liked what I saw from Anthony Richardson. I think they got some life. Steichen it looks like he's got some juice. I'm going with the Jonathan Taylor-less Colts.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Colts too, as did Mike. Next game is San Fran at the Rams. Again, these games are lopsided. I'm gonna go with San Fran.
Yeah, I can't imagine. There's a big difference in talent there.
Hmm. Where's that? In LA. I mean, not that the Rams have a home field advantage.
Go ahead, do it.
I'm tempted. Hmm. I don't know, man. The 49ers did look really good, sadly. I
You
mean,
won't.
fuck it. Let's go Rams.
There
I'll
you
take the
go.
Rams. That's my upset. You always gotta have one upset of a week. That's
Fair
my upset of
enough.
the
I
week.
understand.
Um, Giants at the Cardinals. Talk about misery. I'm gonna go Giants here, as did Mike.
Yeah, I mean, ugh, yeah, I have to.
Next game is Jets at the Cowboys. Mike's
Yeah,
picking
there's no
Dallas.
way. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way that you go into a week with Zach Wilson and they lose.
Yeah, yeah, and it's at Dallas.
Yeah, they'll be
Um,
okay.
this game is probably the only toss up of the entire week. The Washington Commanders at the Denver Broncos.
I'm taking Denver. I think Russ lets it ride.
All right. Just to be different, I will take Washington, and
I mean, you could
Mike.
flip a coin on that one.
Yeah, Mike took the Broncos. Um, and then do we not have a Sunday night football game tomorrow or next Sunday?
We got two Monday nights.
We do. Why is that?
I
Why
don't
don't we
know.
have Sunday Night Football next week?
Daylight savings.
No, that's not till November.
I'm just throwing out
All right.
guesses. I don't hear
Anyways,
anything from you.
Dolphins at the Patriots. This is
You
another
know
one I'm
what?
actually kind of iffy on. I don't know.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna take my upset here because the
Okay.
Patriots showed some juice on defense. I think Bill Belichick comes and shows, they are respected. I like what I saw from Mac Jones. I mean, I think Bill O'Brien
Yeah.
brought him back to life. I'll take the Patriots here.
All right. Well, I'm taking Dolphins. Mike is taking the Dolphins. And like you said, 2 Monday night games. So we have New Orleans at Carolina and Cleveland at
Ugh.
Pittsburgh. So first one, New Orleans at Carolina. I'm gonna take the Saints. Come
I'm
marching in.
taking I'm taking the Saints in Cleveland.
Saints and Cleveland. I will also be taking Cleveland, as will Mike, and Mike also took the Saints. So pretty lopsided week here. A lot of good teams fighting a lot of bad teams, or a lot of bad teams fighting a lot of worse teams. So we'll see how it honestly, Eagles, Vikings, and yeah, that's and Baltimore,
That's about
Cincy.
it.
Baltimore, Cincy, and Eagles, Vikings are probably the best two games you'll see all week.
Listen, it's week
Maybe.
2. You never know who's gonna be good.
That's true. We didn't know
But
that.
hey,
But
to next week when we do this after the Eagles smash the Vikings.
I only hope. So till then, go Birds. And
Go Birds.
man, football is back, baby.
Let's go, baby.
Whew.
Peace.
Peace. Thank you again for listening to the Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks Sports Podcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe on all your major platforms. Follow us on YouTube. Follow the show on Spotify and Apple. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Have a great day, and tune in next week.